Heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Welcome, everyone. My name's Derek, and I'm one of the members of the Plus Platoon. We are a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We'll look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed so you will never miss a moment. Now, one person does not a platoon make, so I would like to bring in Rebecca. Rebecca, how you doing this evening?
I am doing so well, you guys.
Good.
It has been 3 weeks. I got my life sorted out. We got everything figured out, and we're good to go. And I'm so excited to talk about more Marvel.
Yeah, glad to see you back. But yeah, and now run a little bit of a skeleton crew tonight. So our third member tonight is Sam. Sam, how are you this evening?
Hey, you guys, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be with the three of us, I should say. I know that we also have Gina in the background who's going to make a guest appearance later in our show today. But yeah, I'm really excited to be with you guys. I'm sad that Kate and Pete can't join us tonight, but you know, we'll carry the torch ourselves, right? We're here for Platoons Days. I'm going to make that a thing, by the way. It's like Fetch is going to happen. Platoons Days is going to happen.
You can keep pushing it. Okay? We'll see if it catches on. So,
all right.
Now, as always, we've got Disney Plus news, and Sam, you're going to take the news tonight. So, what have we got for this week?
Yeah, welcome to your Disney Plus news, everyone. We've got a few things coming out. Starting tomorrow, Diary of a Future President Season 2 is premiering. Now, that's a show about a 7th grader and her family. It looks like a very kid-friendly, family-friendly show. That's, again, premiering tomorrow on Disney Plus. On September 22nd, the new Star Wars Visions is going to debut. The show is going to feature different cultural takes on original stories from the universe of Star Wars. So that's coming again September 22nd. And then in other Disney Plus news, Obi-Wan Kenobi series just wrapped filming. The show takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. Ewan McGregor is going to be Obi-Wan, and Hayden Christensen is back as Darth Vader, which will be very interesting because I think he's all deformed and stuff already. The show is going to premiere sometime in 2022. We don't know the release date exactly yet, but it's going to supposedly premiere on Disney Plus. And that is your Disney Plus news for today.
Wonderful. Some of those sound really interesting. It's going to be realistic. I'm really interested in see how the Visions goes because it's completely unique stories.
Yeah.
And so I'm really intrigued to see how that one comes out.
Agreed.
Well,
I'm more excited for Obi-Wan Kenobi, but and to see Ewan McGregor and to see Hayden Christensen, but that's going to be further out, so we've got to wait kind of a bit for that.
Yeah. So, well, this week we had Marvel's What If debut, and this week's episode was Captain Carter. So, long story short, Peggy Carter took the super serum instead of Steve. So, my question for you, Rebecca, and we asked this about the Falcon and Winter Soldier, was Captain Carter shield worthy?
So you guys all know as much as everyone else that I love Marvel. I don't think that they can really do any wrong. They just maybe click to some other viewers and audiences better than others during certain shows. So that is kind of how I'm feeling for this one. I am kind of tired of the animated Marvel stuff, and I am just eagerly waiting for all of these new movies to come out. Black Widow kind of put me in this spin, but I do think it's shield worthy, not like a vibranium shield, but maybe just like one of the prototype shields that they had. because I'm so in love with how the original story played out. And it's hard for me because I am very like go women, that I want her to be, some superhero with the serum and stuff. Guys, I cringed a little bit when she came out like tall and like,
And really buff.
yeah, I was like, oh, I wish they would have just kept her frame. Like I literally was like, please don't do that to her. Don't do. You did it. You really did make her like that. But I did love the parallels to Captain America with the gun scene busting out of the jailhouse. That was very, a monumental moment for that. When she saved Bucky from falling off the train rather than him dying, I thought that was funny. And forgive me, the suit that skinny Steve Rogers is in is a prototype for Iron Man
that we have never seen before.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I assumed, because they also came from Howard Stark. So I just kind of assumed like, okay, well, if that had happened to Peggy, he was going to turn into this, So I did like those things, but overall, I think there's other episodes that are going to come out that I'm just a little bit more interested in, that I know we will talk about later. So this episode in particular, a aluminum foil shield worthy for me. Derek, what do you think?
I think this should be renamed "What If Disney Needed People to Watch for More Money." It felt forced. It felt. I don't know that this series at all needed. Yes, I understand that it's setting up the multiverse, but it's also completely going off script, where Marvel's either done long series or movies to progress the multiverse forward. To be able to create all new multiverses in 20 minutes seems like a cop-out. Did I like the story? Did I like it? Sure. The new Iron Man suit really turned me off. I didn't think that was needed at all. That felt really forced. Peggy, I still don't know why Steve could jumped into the thing and taken the serum anyway. But I think the whole concept of the Watcher is interesting, in that he says at the beginning he cannot interfere. To me, that's a Marvel setup that at some point he's going to interfere. I think it's coming. So to me, shield worthy. I wouldn't even go, maybe, insect spray type shield. So I mean, no, it wasn't needed. So Sam, how about you?
I've been trying really hard to not give you any facial reactions while the two of you have been speaking, because I didn't want to give away my feelings about this before I had my chance. But I am in 100% agreement on this with Derek.
Yes! Miracles do happen.
I thought that this show was pretty terrible. I thought that it was unneeded. I didn't like how they made not just that Peggy could have been the superhero and that wouldn't have bothered me. That wasn't it. I love her as a hero. I think she is a hero in Agent Carter, regardless of the fact that she doesn't have superpowers. Right. But they made her this like comic book looking superhero. I didn't love the animation, but that's kind of I don't love comic book style animation, and that's what this looks like. But they made her like, her boobs were really big. She's super skinny. She's super tall. She looks Amazonian. It just does. I don't know. I didn't like that at all. I hated that they gave Steve the armor suit, the Iron Man suit, because why does he get to be the hero? If she gets to be the hero, why is he also the hero? Why can't he just be like a regular agent like she is in the first, iteration? Like, why can't he just be Agent Rogers or something? So I hated that they went completely, like, if you're going to make it off script but make her the hero, then let her be the hero, Marvel. Let her be the hero. Don't make it two heroes and she and Steve together are heroes. Anyway, I hated that. I did love the line with Bucky when she saves Bucky and he's like, "You almost ripped my arm off." I thought that
Yes.
one moment was very, very funny. But I'll be honest, I had a hard time even like watching this thing. Like
Finishing
I
it.
kept
Yeah.
finishing it. I kept getting distracted. I kept having to like rewind and rewatch because I was to be fair, I was watching it during like some breaks in my work day today because I realized, oh, I haven't watched it yet and it's not that long of an episode, but yeah, I just really didn't like it, you guys. I feel bad, but I didn't think it. I love the Marvel movies. I loved all three of the Marvel TV shows that we saw on the Disney Plus platform. I know, even though Derek doesn't love them, I know that Rebecca and I both love them. But I just really thought this was not just unnecessary, but I actually think it detracts from the MCU.
Mhm.
And I agree with you, Derek. This is not the way to do the multiverse. Like, do the multiverse through the movies, through the TV shows, but doing them in like these 26-minute cartoon episodes just didn't work for me at all.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I guess I forgot to mention, because the part that made me think exactly what you said, Sam. Why does he have to be any part of it? Is when he like jumped down and everyone started to like cheer, and I was like, I don't know if they're cheering for the fact that he just landed or that she just saved everyone, and they had to make Steve Rogers say, "Give it up for Captain Carter," like to make it obvious, like, oh, we are cheering for her. Okay.
Yeah.
But at the end, he was the one who like saved.
Yeah.
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 Ryan says he loved the concept of the series so far. Wait for more. Ryan, it's good to see you in a minority for once. Jason does say that in the comics, the arc of the Watcher is that he does eventually interfere. So I can see that coming.
Yeah.
We do have feedback from Pete. Pete's not able to join us tonight, but he basically said that it feels like a, quote, silly trifle. So he's on team Sam and Derek. So
yeah. Well, listen, Rebecca's not that far away.
I was
she
just
didn't
gonna
love this
say,
series either.
I was just gonna say, like, I give the benefit of the doubt because it's Marvel and because there are other ones that I'm just interested to see how they have twisted it. But this episode specifically just could have been so much more amazing than it was. Was it bad? Not entirely. Because I'm like with Ryan, I agree that the concept of this series is awesome. I think for people who are so into Marvel are like, well, what if this happened? Like it's just things that you think about. So I think that it's a great idea, but they just really did not nail it on the head like they could have.
I actually agree with that. I actually thought the concept when we had talked originally that we were going to be covering this show, that we were going to be watching it and talking about it on the Platoon, I was thinking, that's a cool idea. Like, let's see what happens. They had only announced it was the first episode being Agent Carter, but the execution just really, really poor.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. What was it that other animated one we watched that was introducing each of the characters?
The Marvel, the Fury Files.
Yes, I didn't like that either. And so maybe I have a little bit of a bias against these comic book animated series. I don't know. But I'm open to watching the next one to kind of see, but I know we're about to talk about that, so I won't get into that.
That's an amazing segue. And Rebecca has kind of led into this of there are other episodes coming out. I do know that the one comes out tomorrow is Black Panther, and it does feature Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. It uses some lines that he'd recorded previously. But I'm going to start with Sam. Which other stories are needed, do you want to see? And which ones do you under no condition ever want to see?
That's hard because I don't know which ones they're doing, right? I don't know which characters they're going to cover and what their storylines are going to be. I am excited to see this Black Panther one only really because of Chadwick Boseman's voice, and it'll be nostalgic and getting to hear his voice and seeing how they do that. The one thing I did like about the series was that most of the voice actors are the same as the actors from the movies. Not all of them. Steve Rogers was not Chris Evans. It was a different voice actor, but Peggy Carter was the same actress. A bunch of the other characters were the same actors voicing the roles. So that I like. I am hoping for a Loki version. I know we've had the Loki TV show, but it would be interesting to see them do some kind of, I don't know, maybe where I don't know, Loki is the hero really instead of Thor or something like that. I'm not really sure what, what concepts they've got in the hopper, but I just don't think this series is necessary at all. I think that they should do multiverse stuff in the movies or the TV shows. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Rebecca, what about you?
I agree. So I found an episode's guide to kind of kind of a forward of what are all of the 10 episodes going to be about.
Oh, cool.
And unfortunately, there's no Loki one. Sad. And what I kind of wish that this thing would
Shucks.
What I wish this show would be about is like pivotal moments that happened in the MCU. What if they didn't go the way they did? What if Loki didn't die? What if King T'Challa had lost the first battle of or whatever? Like what if he had never became like what if those just monumental things that did happen in the MCU did actually happen? This guy that I'm looking at tells me that there's a zombie episode that T'Challa is actually Star-Lord, who gets chosen up by he gets kidnapped from Earth and stuff. There's Ant-Man's head is severed.
What? This stuff sounds Barton.
Clint Barton.
No, it's in the trailer. This is all stuff that was in the trailer.
Spider-Man is the Supreme Sorcerer. Like it's stuff that like doesn't make sense. The multiverse stuff that like it's so far-fetched and it's so away from what this was the closest one of the ones that I've read that could have possibly happened and not really changed major storylines. I'm not going to be interested in seeing Chadwick Boseman's animated character as Star-Lord with Gamora. Like that's not what I want to see. I want to see like the other things that I was mentioning, like these pivotal moments that happen in the MCU going the other way around. What if Thor like didn't get fat or something? Like I just things that happened in the movies that were like so close, but it didn't. I don't care to see Iron Man as a zombie. Like it's just like. So I don't really think any of those episodes are needed, and the ones that we do need are more realistic versions of stuff that could possibly happen that create those branched off timelines. Stuff that is close to the they have the one major timeline or whatever. Where are these little branches coming from? I don't think that there's a branch where they're all zombies. So
that's hilarious. That sounds very much like comic books.
Yeah.
Just remember, she said that they're not believable, but these are people who believe a man can be a spider. Just saying. To me, about the only story I thought that I would like to see is what if Loki had actually succeeded in killing Thanos?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been the one story, not because it would have, cut like 4 or 5 other movies, but because then I think we would have seen Loki as the main villain with Thanos.
Oh,
and having the Infinity Stones and the snap and all that. That's about the only other story I would love to see. Which ones aren't needed other than any of them? I would say I'm kind of with Rebecca. The ones that completely change a character, like Chadwick Boseman as Star-Lord instead of Black Panther. If you would have Tony Stark turn evil, I don't want to see one where Tony Stark lived. I really don't, and that's like the whole Black Widow actually lives. No, and Gamora lives. That's one of those, making those sacrifices are what made the story the story. They're what made them the true heroes of the MCU, is they were willing to sacrifice themselves. So to me, those are the ones that will really turn me off if they're here, is if they completely change the sacrifice of the characters. What the pivotal moment for that character, if it changes it, no thanks.
Yeah.
Dan Austin says he wants to see a Groot episode. Okay.
I mean, who wouldn't? But
baby Groot or Big Groot?
Oh, baby
Baby
Groot,
Groot.
or teenage Groot. Teenage Groot's
Okay.
kind of
Or
fun too.
here's your crossover. Groot as the trees in Lord of the Rings.
Ooh. What about
Because
if
he was
what if we got a Zemo episode and we got some fist bumping, you know?
with Groot? Yeah.
With Groot,
I mean,
them dancing together
yeah.
or something.
So
With
I
the
mean-
with the soundtrack from Guardians. That's all.
Yes, the
Yes.
soundtrack from Guardians. Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, I can see that. So
Yeah. Oh, Jason's got a great comment here.
yeah. They tried to go weird, but they just not go weird enough. Steampunk Hulk, Alligator Loki saves the world. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I would love to see Alligator Loki save the world.
Yeah, you can really go weird in Marvel in the MCU. I think the next big what if though, at some point they're going to bring the X-Men in. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we got to
It's
have
just-
a crossover.
It's just when are they going? Because now that they own both, they can bring them in. Because there have been crossovers in the comics, and some of the settings in Captain Winter Soldier were settings that were also in the X-Men universe.
Yeah.
So the moment you see Hugh Jackman show up, there we go. So I mean, it's
You're
just,
telling me there's a possibility to have Hugh Jackman, Chris Evans, and Tom Hiddleston on the same screen.
And maybe
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds too.
okay, you just lost me there. No. So
Don't forget
guys,
about Deadpool. Deadpool is part
Oh
of
yeah.
the
yeah,
X-Men
Deadpool.
Marvel.
I thought you were
That's
talking
what
about Free Guy, and I'm going, what? Huh?
No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Okay,
Yeah.
But Ryan Reynolds as Hugh Jackman from the end.
Yeah.
There's your ultimate crossover.
Hugh Jackman from what is the carnival? The Greatest Showman.
Oh, Greatest Showman.
with the Wolverine claws.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
So, okay. We're gonna we'll keep watching What If in the background, and if something really comes up, we will bring it up. But the other thing we had to watch for this week was we had the finale of Bad Batch. Now, Sam and Rebecca, I know neither of you were up on Bad Batch and kept up, but our producer Gina was. So Gina,
Hi, guys.
glad to
Hey,
have you in
Gina.
here.
Great to
So-
be here.
Yeah. So Sam,
Yay.
Rebecca, we will catch you guys in a minute, and we will talk about the Bad Batch finale. Gina, did the finale sink or swim?
Okay, so you guys know you've watched it. It's 2 episodes. The
Right.
first episode of the finale really swam for me. The second episode was kind of a letdown. I was a little let down. I mean, it was super predictable, and I was so disappointed because I love how Dave Filoni leaves us hanging and leaves the cliffhangers. And this he timed up in a nice little bow and was like, here's your predictable ending. So the first episode, though, totally swam for me as they're trying to get out of Camino. And I knew Camino was going to be done, and I knew what was going to happen with Crosshair. So that's mine.
Yeah. For me, the first episode kind of treaded water. I mean, it didn't sink, but it wasn't going anywhere. Because again, the further this got in the season, the more predictable it became.
Yes.
You knew that, I mean, somewhere in there, you had to know that there was a little bit of a Crosshair redemption story where he saves them. And you had to know that Echo was then going to go in and save him. And there was going to be the whole, you saved me and I saved you. Now we got to go our separate ways, and we will meet in the future as mortal enemies.
Yes. It was
Really?
it was so predictable, and it was so not Dave Filoni. I didn't know what happened at that.
And
Judge.
then they tried to pull in some of the tie-ins to The Mandalorian at the very, very end. And it just, the second episode definitely sank for me,
Yes,
like the
me
rest
too.
of the city, because nothing happened. And it was, stuff happened as in they escaped. The entire episode was them getting off the planet. Not
And
even
we
not
knew
even
that.
fighting other soldiers. It was just them
Just
escaping the
drowning.
escaping drowning.
The
Yeah.
drowning.
It was what Titanic would have been if it was Star Wars.
Exactly.
I
And it
mean-
was such a letdown. And I just wanted somebody to come from up in the outer rim to come find them. I knew Camino was going to be dead anyway. I knew they were going to kill Camino. So that was
Yeah.
the part that I was very disappointed with. So, and then I got to tell you what Pete said. Pete said he liked this entire show. For him, this entire show is the best animated Star Wars show. And I actually disagree with him. I think that Clone Wars is a better animated story only because it ties everything together, where this is just solid 16 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he also had a comment there, which ties us into our next one. Okay, Gina, for the series, the season 1, Pixie Dust rating out of 5. Pete gave it a 3, as he thought it was the best series, but there were some weak episodes.
Now,
how about for you?
I actually was driving home from work today and I was thinking about my rating, and I'm a 3.5. It gets a 0.5 because I really do like the Omega character and I do want to see what happens with her. I do want to see what her special ability is. I like Omega a lot and I like how they tied in all the rebels, and I like that way more than I liked the actual ending, the actual finale.
Okay. For me, I'm going to give the series a 2. It's one of those series that's not needed. I mean, because it's not making any progress in the story.
No, it's not.
Which, I mean, yes, we know the beginning and we know the end of the Obi-Wan story, but you could have interactions with him and Darth Vader in there throughout the 20 years that's coming between the end, between where it's going to start and New Hope. You can have the 20 years come in there. It's convenient that it's 10 years later, and that's how many years it's really been since they've wrapped main shooting on Revenge of the Sith. But so it explains how the people have aged. But
in
to
the
me,
world.
this is one of those. It's going to be. I'm not going to watch it again. I had enough trouble keeping up on the whole season this time.
Yeah.
Season 2 has got to step it up. Otherwise,
well, I think Dave and John have to figure out what's going forward, and they're going to have to tie it into the new series that are coming out. And that's usually what they do. So I'm hoping that'll be this season.
Okay. Refresh my memory. When was this set in the timeline?
This is right after Darth Vader changes over. It's Execute Order 66, where all of the clones
that's right.
go
okay.
and
so
murder
this is before.
the Jedi.
This is like the 3 months right after Revenge of the Sith.
It's during Revenge of the Sith. It's during when he's turning into Darth Vader.
Okay.
It starts there and then it continues. 3 months.
And then it continues on.
Yeah.
Because Revenge of the Sith basically Execute Order 66, and then it's like 2 days later the movie's over. Right. So it does go on a little bit, but okay. I just after. That shows you how long ago the first episode was, is because I didn't remember that.
Wow. Yeah. The whole point of this was
because it was what 16 episodes.
Yeah, the whole thing was the inhibitor chip, theirs malfunctioned and they didn't do that. And then the trick was Crosshair's already was taken out and he still followed orders.
Was it really? Because remember, in like episode 2 or 3, they reprogram him. So was he told it was taken out? And then we're going to find out it really wasn't. And so that's how they're going to end up saving him at the end of season 2.
That might be the cliffhanger. Because when that was the shocker of the season 1, when he said mine's already been removed, I was like, what? We thought that you were.
But he got reprogrammed in episode,
and I forgot that.
Either 1 or 2. Yeah. So I'm not sure I buy it. So,
sure. Anyway.
So that was Star Wars Bad Batch. Yeah. And Gina will keep you around for the rest of the show because we don't have much. Bring back Sam. Hey, Sam. Hey, Rebecca. Okay.
Hello.
Next week, we are going back into the vault. We are going to watch Swiss Family Robinson from 1960. Please, if you need to watch it this week, please make sure it's the one from 1960, not 1940.
The 1940 one's so boring.
Yeah, because they're both on there.
I didn't know that there was a 1941. I'll be honest.
And there's a reason for that.
It's literally word for word the book. And if you
Yeah.
slogged through that book,
Yeah, and it's a slog.
it
So
was
if
so
it's in
hard.
color, you have the right one.
The 1940s version was so boring. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Oh, it's because I remember why. Back in high school, we had Cliff's Notes, and I had to make sure the Cliff's Notes matched the movie.
But this one stars, it's got the Disney regulars Tommy Kirk, Dorothy McGuire, Kevin Corcoran. So it's that if you recognize, hey, I know that guy, hey, I know her, hey, I know that guy, it's the right one.
Yeah.
And
this is the movie that the attraction at Disney
Yes.
World
It
is
is the
based
one.
on.
Yes.
Right.
And the original was at Disneyland, but it was redone
Tarzan.
to Tarzan
Yeah.
in '99. So
Yeah.
it was it was a very early attraction for Disneyland, and then actually for Magic Kingdom as well.
Yes. And this is a movie that Walt Disney actually had a very strong hand in.
Mhm.
So that's what we're doing next week. Really looking forward to that. And so if you have suggestions on what we should go back into the vault for, or what we should do for a Diamond in the Rough series, let us know. Email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com, or we are on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram at Plus Platoon. So let us know if you want to be on the show for an episode. We're looking for guests.
Email.
Okay? Email us. If you suggest us a series for Diamond in the Rough or from the Vault, we'd love to have you on. We'd love to have you on and part of it. So with that,
or if you want to nerd out about the MCU with us, when we're talking about MCU shows, you let us know. We love to nerd out.
Definitely.
We love to nerd out. Yeah. So we are on every Tuesday at 9 p.m. And with that, everyone, we will say good night. So we will see you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com, or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Plus Platoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode, because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.